Namaskar. Today we'll study erectile dysfunction. So, before that, let us see the structure of penis. This is the base or root. Then we have this part is your body part, and above is your glans penis. And inside it, this is urethra. Surrounding the urethra, there is the corpus spongiosum, and on the two sides we have two corpus cavernosum. And this corpus spongiosum and two corpus cavernosum, or we can call as corpus cavernosa. These three together are known as the erectile bodies, and when there is blood supply to these erectile tissues, then there will be erection of penis because of your vasodilatation. So sexual arousal in male activates your nerves, the nervous system, mostly your parasympathetic nervous system, and that cause the penis blood vessels to expand. More blood flows in and less blood flows out of the penis. That causes the hardening of the tissue in the erectile bodies. These two corpus cavernosum and one corpus spongiosum. So that leads to erection of penis and sufficient hardness to satisfy intercourse. So this when there is not sufficient erection, that leads to erectile dysfunction, and this can be two types: vasculogenic or psychogenic and neurogenic. Vasculogenic, when there is less blood supply, there is no vasodilatation, that is your vasculogenic. And it can also be psychogenic or neurogenic, and mostly the dopamine is involved. Dopamine has a role here. Then vasodilatation is caused by your nitric oxide, cyclic GMP, prostaglandin E1. They act as vasodilator. Alpha 1 receptor mediated, your alpha 1 receptor agonist, they cause vasoconstriction. So that is the negative regulator. Now let us see how this vascular smooth muscle relaxation occurs. And the cyclic GMP causes the relaxation of vascular smooth muscles, causes vasodilatation, so that increases the blood flow, causes erection of penis. So cyclic GMP is produced from guanosine triphosphate by the enzyme guanylate cyclase, and this guanylate cyclase is activated by nitric oxide. This nitric oxide is synthesized from nitric oxide synthase action from L-arginine, the amino acid. So L-arginine is the precursor of nitric oxide, and there is the action of nitric oxide synthase. So nitric oxide activates guanylate cyclase. This produces cyclic GMP, and cyclic GMP causes vasodilatation. Now vascular smooth muscle contraction is mediated by your myosin light chain kinase. The two regulatory proteins are actin and myosin. And when there is phosphorylation of myosin, actin binds with this phosphorylated myosin because the energy is there. This phosphate provides the energy. So actin myosin binding leads to contraction. And this phosphorylation of myosin occurs by the action of myosin light chain kinase. The activated enzyme myosin light chain kinase phosphorylates myosin to myosin phosphate. And this myosin light chain kinase is activated by calcium calmodulin complex. So once there is calcium in the cytosol, calcium binds with the protein called cytosolic protein called calmodulin. So calcium calmodulin complex activates myosin light chain kinase. The activated myosin light chain kinase phosphorylates myosin. Phosphorylated myosin binds with actin to cause the contraction of the vascular smooth muscle. So if we can inhibit either phosphorylation of myosin or the activation of this myosin light chain kinase, in this way we can inhibit the contraction, so there will be relaxation. Now alpha 1 receptors, the alpha 1 receptors have a role in your contraction of vascular smooth muscles. So alpha 1 receptor, as we know, is a G protein coupled receptor linked to the effector enzyme phospholipase C. So phospholipase C converts your phosphatidyl inositol diphosphate to inositol triphosphate. This IP3. IP3 acts on the calcium stores, releases calcium. So calcium binds with calcium calmodulin to form calcium calmodulin complex, which activates the myosin light chain kinase, which phosphorylates myosin. And now phosphorylated myosin binds with actin to cause contraction. So alpha 1 receptor agonists cause contraction of vascular smooth muscles. So we can use alpha 1 receptor blockers, which will act as vasodilators or cause relaxation of smooth muscle of blood vessels. Cyclic GMP, we said cyclic GMP is acting as a vasodilator. How cyclic GMP acts as vasodilator? Cyclic GMP activates a protein kinase called protein kinase G. So cyclic GMP activates protein kinase G, and this protein kinase G activates myosin phosphatase. So myosin phosphatase dephosphorylates myosin phosphate to myosin. So when there will be dephosphorylation, so no phosphate is available, so no energy for actin myosin binding, so no contraction. So myosin, there will be no actin binding, so that will lead to relaxation. So cyclic GMP causes relaxation of vascular smooth muscle by causing dephosphorylation of this myosin phosphate, and that's why it causes vasodilatation and increases blood flow and causes erection of penis. The cyclic GMP is degraded to 5-GMP by phosphodiesterase 5 in the penis. So phosphodiesterase 5 can be inhibited by the drugs like sildenafil. So sildenafil inhibits phosphodiesterase 5 and increases the level of cyclic GMP. So there will be dephosphorylation of myosin, so no actin myosin binding, so no contraction. So that means there will be relaxation of vascular smooth muscles, and that causes vasodilatation, increases blood flow, causes erection of penis. So we can use drugs like PD5 inhibitors. We can use drugs which will increase the level of nitric oxide. We can use alpha 1 blockers. So drugs for erectile dysfunction, again we can classify them: drugs for vasculogenic erectile dysfunction and drugs for psychogenic and neurogenic erectile dysfunction. So for vasculogenic erectile dysfunction, we can use vasodilators. Number 1, PD5 inhibitors, sildenafil, vardenafil, tadalafil. So they can be used 1 hour before anticipated sexual activity, and it will last for 4 hours. Then we can use also non-selective PD inhibitor. Non-selective PD inhibitors are no more used because we have PD5 selective inhibitors. So papaverine is a non-selective PD inhibitor, and these drugs are less active than these PD5 inhibitors, and they are more effective in psychogenic and neurogenic ED than vasculogenic ED. Then we can use prostaglandin E1 analogs, because prostaglandin is a vasodilator, so alprostadil can be used. If someone is not responding to sildenafil, then we can use alprostadil, which is a prostaglandin analog, and it can be directly injected to your corpus cavernosum. We can directly inject it into the corpus cavernosum, and it will cause vasodilatation. Or we can also use as a suppository in the urethra. In the urethra, we can also use prostaglandin analog like alprostadil as a suppository. Then we can use the precursor of nitric oxide like this L-arginine. L-arginine is required for production of nitric oxide, so we can use L-arginine also. And we can use non-selective alpha blockers, alpha 1 blockers, and the alpha 2 blockers also have a role in your erectile dysfunction. So better if we can use non-selective alpha blockers like phentolamine. So alpha 2 blockers, how they are useful, let us discuss now. So now the drugs for psychogenic and neurogenic ED, mostly these drugs increase the dopaminergic transmission. And because this dopamine provides a feel good sensation, and that can be useful in case of psychogenic and neurogenic erectile dysfunction. So we can use dopamine agonists, dopamine 1 and dopamine 2 agonists like apomorphine as a sublingual, or can be used as a buccal tablet. And this apomorphine is useful in patients with coexisting benign prostatic hyperplasia (BPH), coronary artery disease, hypertension. In these patients, these drugs will be useful. Then trazodone, which is a 5-HT reuptake inhibitors plus alpha-1 blocker. So it has anxiolytic actions. It increases the 5-HT transmission by inhibiting 5-HT reuptake. So it is effective in persons with performance anxiety, low libido, low sex desire. So libido is sex desire. So low libido, in those cases you can use trazodone. And alpha-2 blockers, alpha-1 blockers are vasodilators, and alpha-2 blockers, they increase adrenergic, dopaminergic and serotonergic transmission. All these three, dopaminergic, adrenergic and serotonergic transmission. So they can be useful in psychogenic and neurogenic erectile dysfunction, because they can be useful in case of performance anxiety or low libido. We can use them. So that's why non-selective alpha blockers are like phentolamine is useful. So both in case of both vasculogenic as well as your psychogenic and neurogenic. So these alpha-2 blockers like yohimbine, alpha-2 is a autoreceptor located in the presynapse. And not only in adrenergic neuron, it is also present in dopaminergic neuron and serotonergic neuron. The presynaptic receptor alpha-2 is located in adrenergic neuron, dopaminergic neuron, serotonergic neuron. And we can call the alpha-2 receptor in adrenergic neuron as autoreceptor, whereas alpha-2 receptor in dopaminergic neuron and serotonergic neuron, we can call them as heteroreceptor. So when the alpha-2 agonists act on these alpha-2 presynaptic receptors, they inhibit the release of the neurotransmitter. So in adrenergic neuron, they will inhibit the release of noradrenaline. In the dopaminergic neuron, they will inhibit the release of dopamine. In serotonergic neuron, they will inhibit the release of serotonin. So if we give alpha-2 blockers, then that action will be blocked. So there will be increased release of noradrenaline, increased release of dopamine, increased release of 5-HT. So there is increased adrenergic, dopaminergic and serotonergic transmission. So they can be useful for psychogenic and neurogenic ED, where the patients have performance anxiety and where there is low libido. So this is all about erectile dysfunction. Thank you.